Have you gotten emails from influencers asking for free products from your shop? Could it be a scam? Sending influencers your products that took you hours to make for the promise of exposure? It's not always a scam, and the right opportunities could take your business to the next level. Let's find out how to tell if an opportunity is worth pursuing or not. So keep watching. Hi, my name is May, and I help makers, artists, and designers make a living from selling their handmade products online. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you didn't know, I run a handmade jewelry shop called Tiny Hands Jewelry that I started in 2006. And I've done a lot of outreach, pitching my products to major publications, and I have gotten into some major ones like In Touch magazine, Every Day with Rachel Ray, Girls Life magazine, and a whole lot more. These have totally transformed my business and got me to making multiple six figures in sales every year. I wouldn't be where I am today without those mentions, so yes, it is possible that exposure can help your shop like it did for mine. I say this because I see a lot of skeptical shop owners who are too quick to turn away any and all opportunities for exposure. I get it. It's a risk. You're sending your products away for free with no promise or guarantee anything's going to come out of it. But it's also not always a scam, and I'd hate for you to miss out on a really amazing opportunity that could change your business. So we'll talk more about how to decide if something's worth pursuing or not. But I also don't want you to think that you should just jump on any opportunity. Let me tell you a story. A few years ago, I was contacted by a major online retailer saying they were interested in my products. I was so excited because it would be huge for me to sell under their brand that I was already a fan of before they even ever reached out to me. I'd not only be making a lot of money from the wholesale order, but also getting introduced to a whole new customer base. But there was a catch. They would only purchase my products at a price far below my normal wholesale price. Of course, I was really anxious about it because accepting it would mean putting in long hours to make a huge bulk order where they wanted hundreds of my necklaces for basically no profit. And the retailer tried to convince me that the exposure would be worth it and that they'd be placing more orders if my products sold well, but they wanted to buy my products at a cheaper price because they didn't think they could charge my regular prices to their customers. So while it broke my heart, I turned the offer down. And let me tell you why. First, fulfilling the order while basically earning nothing would take time away from my normal business, which is important to note because the time I spent there is actually a lot more profitable. Second, I thought about the customer path. Would their readers or their audience that came to this retailer and looked at my product listing really say, oh, let me see who makes this necklace and Google them and see if they make anything else cool? No, they probably wouldn't. It was probably very unlikely because they weren't my ideal customers. So it wasn't worth it. Now, this situation is totally different from, say, a magazine requesting a free sample to feature in an editorial. Sure, it costs a bit of money to make and send the product, but it is a manageable expense, and the product is featured in a way that does drive customers to your own shop. So what are some things you should consider when deciding whether the exposure is worth going for? First, ask yourself if the opportunity will reach your ideal customers. Getting eyeballs on your products can seem appealing, but if it's not the right people who are good for your products, there's no point how large their audience is. It's just not going to translate into much of anything. And if you're not sure, just head on over to any of their social media platforms they own and check out who they're getting comments from. Then look at those people's profiles to get a sense for who they are. This research is key in your decision, so don't skip this step. Second, does the opportunity cost you a lot to fulfill? If satisfying the request puts you in a lot of debt or cripples you in some other way, it's maybe not worth the risk. Having said that, I've definitely been in positions where I've accepted net 30 terms for wholesale orders to large reputable companies. Net 30 terms means that you don't get paid until 30 days from when they receive their invoice. Now, I was able to do this because the cost to make my jewelry isn't really that much, so it wasn't a huge risk for me. Plus, knowing they're a large brand that I was dealing with was a risk I was willing to take for the potential benefits. Now, while I've definitely had to chase down some of these retailers for their payment, I've never actually had anyone not pay me. But again, I wouldn't do net 30 terms for a smaller, lesser known retailer, and definitely not for anyone who's just starting out, which I've definitely gotten those requests from. Next, does the request seem legit? Does it look like the person runs a successful blog with great content and a strong engaged following? Or is it someone with very few followers looking to just score some free product? Use your judgment. A good tell if it's not a good fit is if the blogger or influencer doesn't have a clear niche of their own and they're just posting about food recipes one day and then sports on another day and then teeth whitening products on another. Also, if you see that they always post about deals and discounts, it's probably not a good fit either because they've got an audience that's only attracted to products on sale, and we don't necessarily want to cheapen your brand by associating with that. And if the email request is completely unpersonalized and looks like it could have been sent to 100 other shop owners, I would probably just delete it. The majority of the time when someone reaches out to you to feature you, it's not likely they're a good fit, but we've seen that the influencers worth working with are the ones that you have to reach out to. Now, obviously that's not always the case, but just a pattern that I've seen. And if you're interested in learning how to initiate and do the outreach yourself, I've got a free workshop in the description that will show you how. Another thing to look out for is, does the customer base or following seem engaged? It's important to not rule out an opportunity just because the requester only has a small number of followers, okay? So read through their previous posts, look at their comments, because someone with 500 highly engaged followers who buys everything they recommend can be far more valuable than someone with tens of thousands of followers who are only looking at pretty photos but then never buying anything. And does the opportunity help build a relationship? Maybe you get a request for a magazine that doesn't feel like a perfect fit. Keep in mind that if you turn down the request, the editor may make a mental note that you're not an easy person to go to and may not come to you again for future requests. So it may be worth fulfilling the request just to keep that relationship open. Because many editors are freelancers and work for different magazines, so they may be someone who can help you later down the road. For example, I had a customer the other day who wanted her order expedited, and we were kind of in a spot where it wasn't easy to fulfill that request. However, when I saw the address for where the order was going to, which was a film set, and upon further research, I found out this customer is a wardrobe stylist for TV shows, I was like, all right, all hands on deck. We're going to do whatever it takes to get this jewelry over to her ASAP, even if the show wasn't necessarily one that would attract my ideal customers. Have you received an exposure opportunity that you weren't sure was worth it? I want you to tell me about it. Tell me in the comments. If this was helpful for you, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to be the first to know when a new video drops. And stay on to watch the next handmade business tip video that's going to play soon.